Hi guys, it's Sav here. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make my homemade dinner rolls from scratch. These dinner rolls, I can honestly say, are the best dinner rolls that I have ever had. As much as I love Asian food, I love my bread. This is kind of a special video too. It's in collaboration with Dave over at Cook and Share. You gotta check out his YouTube channel. A lot of amazing stuff. Filipino food, Asian food, but also some American food as well, and some other good stuff. You guys are going to love it there. So make sure you check out his tutorial for honey mustard chicken with apples. They look amazing and I can't wait to make it. It is the perfect main dish to go with my homemade dinner rolls. What you will need today is some all-purpose flour. I have some already in here, and I've went ahead and I've included the recipe in grams. That is just to ensure that you get more consistent results no matter where you are. It's just more consistent if you weigh all of your dry items, so you really need and should get a food scale for this. So I have my all-purpose flour. You're gonna need about 300 grams of that. I have vital wheat gluten. This is really important in this recipe. A lot of the times people use vital wheat gluten when they're making like rye bread or wheat bread. But for me, I use it all the time in all of my recipes because the vital wheat gluten adds a lot of structure and kind of elasticity to your dough. So when you're rolling out the dough, it's easier to work with and it stretches a little bit easier, so you can stretch it out, work with it without it actually tearing. And what I've noticed with vital wheat gluten, it gives a nice rise too. So it promotes a really nice sturdy rise without it really collapsing. And this is by Bob's Red Mill, and you can get that at most American grocery chains or specialty food stores as well. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter, and you're going to need some salt and some yeast. Obviously, I use active dry yeast. I buy a jar, I keep it in my fridge, and I never let my yeast go for longer than 6 months. I keep it as fresh as possible. So if it's been 6 months, and even though it could be half full in here, I usually toss it because yeast is very finicky. If your yeast is bad and is old, the whole recipe will be ruined. I usually write on the cap the purchase date or the purchase month so I know how long I've had it in my fridge. The only thing that you will need to purchase, and that I highly recommend that you get, is your Baker's Special Dry Milk. And you have to purchase this from kingarthurflour.com. I know that's kind of a pain. They do sell dry milk powder at most grocery store chains. The texture of the store-bought dry milk powder is just not the same at all. You gotta get it. You will not regret it. I use it all the time in all my baked goods. You will use it all the time once you realize how good it is. So that's about it. Let's get started and I'll show you guys what to do next. So I have here 1 cup of warm water. To the water, I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Give this all a little stir, and then not shown, but I did add 2 tablespoons of sugar, set it aside, and wait for it to bloom. In a bowl, I have 300 grams of all-purpose flour. I'm adding in 19 grams of Baker's Special Dry Milk and 9 grams of vital wheat gluten. You want to give this all a quick little stir and set this aside. So my active dry yeast is activated. It has bloomed. It's nice and foamy. So we're going to give this all a little stir just to make sure you loosen up the sugar that has fallen to the bottom. And then you want to add your wet ingredients into your dry ingredients. And grab a flat spatula or a wooden spoon if you have it and just mix well. It'll start to kind of not really form a ball but pull away from the sides of your bowl. And that's when you want to go ahead and add in your salt. You want to add your salt in last because salt actually inhibits fermentation, so you should add it in after you've mixed in your flour already. And really, salt has no purpose in bread making anyways. It's really just to enhance flavor, or else there's no point in using it. But you want your bread to taste good, so you definitely should use it. After you mix in your salt, go ahead and take your flour mixture, add it into a food processor. Put the lid on and let it pulse for about 1 minute. I am probably the only person that will tell you to use your food processor to knead your dough. And in my opinion, it is the best way to do it because if you use your hands or if you put it in a stand mixer, people tend to overflour. You put too much flour, you know what? That'll give you a more dense and heavier loaf. It's a little bit crumbly, so I prefer not to do that.
Now it's time to add in our butter. I've kind of flattened out the dough a little bit, and now I'm placing my softened butter right on top, and then I'm going to take my knife, and I might use my hands as well, to take the dough to cover the butter, kind of seal it in. That way when you pulse it again for about 30 more seconds, the butter won't get all over the place, and you want it to stick inside your dough. So now you put your lid back on and pulse it again for 20 to 30 seconds tops. Onto a floured surface, you want to dump your dough onto the counter, and you want to work it with really quick hands. It'll seem really sticky and tacky at first, but that's what you want. A lot of people add way too much flour when you don't need to. So just work it really quickly. Try to do it as fast as you can. Form a ball, and as you're rolling it, you can kind of feel it come together. It'll come together because you know why? Because God is good. See, it's nice and smooth and supple, just like a baby's bottom. Next, you want to take your dough and put it into a lightly oiled bowl, and then you want to toss to coat. And what I mean by that is just flip it. And the reason why you need to flip it is because you want the oil on both sides. This will prevent a crust from forming. Now you want to grab a piece of saran wrap, place it tightly over the bowl, place it in a draft-free place, and then just wait for it to double in size before you work on the next step. It's been about an hour. To check if it's done, I've taken 2 fingers and I've poked my dough down, and if the indentation stays, then your dough is ready.
Now for the fun part. You need to grab a little bit of flour. I'm just gonna, just like that. Small amounts. The secret to really light and fluffy dinner rolls, or just bread in general, is to not use that much flour. A lot of people tend to use way too much flour than called for, and that actually results in a much more denser and heavier loaf. And if you're not new to any of my bread recipes, and you probably know, I always say when the dough is slightly wet and kind of not sticky but a little bit tacky, kind of like pizza dough, then that actually yields a much more lighter and fluffier bread. And you don't have to take my advice. I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school for this, and it's just what I've picked up along the way with a lot of trial and error. So this is so what we're gonna do is I'm just going to make it into a log, and I'm just kind of back and forth motion, probably like, let me see here. So this is about 14 inches across, and you want to evenly cut this first down the middle, just like that, and then again here and here. 2, 3. That'll give me 12 dinner rolls. I have my dish towel here, and you want to make sure that they stay covered while you're working on rolling. And they might seem, like I said before, they might seem a little bit tacky at first, but that's okay. So again, I'm going to cover all this just like this. Keep it covered. And I'm just going to roll them in between my hands.
And roll it just until it becomes a tight little ball. Don't spend too much time on it.
And you kind of want to make a C shape, and you're rolling towards you counterclockwise.
And you can literally feel the ball coming together. If you're doing it wrong, you'll be able to feel it in between your hands as you're working with it.
Gotta be really fast. And see, before you start each roll, you want to make sure that your counter is clean, because you don't want to pick up any old clumpy flour. So see, this one's kind of sticky, so I'm going to add a little bit flour. Okay, so I'm all done rolling up my dinner rolls into really nice little balls. They're all under here. Make sure you remember the order that you put these in, from which ones you did first to which one you did last. You're going to cover them with a dish towel and let these hang out for about 5 minutes to relax the gluten up a little bit, and then we're going to come back and repeat and roll them one more time, and then we're going to put them into a buttered baking dish and let these rise until they're about double, and then we're gonna bake them. Okay, so I just finished my second rolling. They're gonna look something like this. I recommend placing your dinner rolls in a 9x9 baking dish. Ceramic preferred, but if you don't have that, that's okay too. So now I'm just going to cover these with a piece of saran wrap, wait for them to double in size, and then we're gonna go ahead and bake them off. Look at that. Booyah! I didn't even bake them yet, and they just look so fluffy already. The trick to getting your dough to rise beautifully is to talk to it. You know how people say talk to your plants, and if you talk to your plants, you get it to grow? Sav likes to talk to her bread to get the bread to rise beautifully. I close my eyes real nice and tight and I say, please, please rise beautifully for me. Don't let that 2 hours that I just put into making you go to waste. Please, please, please. All right, so I have my egg wash here. Again, it's an egg white mixed in with a little bit of water. I'm going to coat my rolls with my egg wash mixture, and you want to be really gentle with this part. Okay, so that's done. Off into the oven they go, and I'll show you guys what they look like after. So these just came out of the oven. You want to butter the dinner rolls as soon as they come out of the oven.
So my dinner rolls have been sitting for about 30 minutes. You want to keep them in your ceramic dish or whatever dish you're using for at least 30 minutes. If you take them out too soon, they're too hot and they will literally collapse and kind of shrink a little bit, and you want them to stay nice and fluffy. But don't worry, they will still be nice and warm and butterlicious. That probably isn't a word, but I'm still going to use it. Oh man. Can't tell me that these do not look delicious. I just had to do a close-up, you guys. These are so soft, so light and fluffy. They will melt in your mouth, especially if it's still warm. Just slather some butter on this bad boy. Oh my goodness. I dare you to try to eat just one.
Wow. As much as I love my rice, I'm a bread and butter girl, and this is totally hitting the spot. It tastes like heaven. Soft, pillowy, light, fluffy. Add some butter on top. Oh, there is nothing better. Don't forget to check out my friend Dave over at Cook and Share. He has an amazing recipe for honey mustard chicken with apples that'll make a great main dish to go along with my dinner rolls. Thanks for watching. Bye.